Most people think running ads is just pushing buttons in Meta and Google. That's like walking to a sword fight with a plastic sword. Today I'll show you 3 principles all great managers have in order to execute and scale ad campaigns and turn those weak inputs into strong results. What's going on, Dan? Going dirty out with a coming back at you with a battle video. And today we're breaking down how to think like a master ad manager. You'll see why the best campaigns aren't just about hacks and luck, but about the principles that lead to great results every time. It's all about those 3 same principles, and if you have these down, you will be a master ad manager. So, let's stick around, guys. We're gonna get into it today. So, guys, by the end of today, you will learn why some ad managers crush it with the same tools you're using, while others just burn cash. A hidden ingredient that makes up a campaign before it even launches, and the secret that nobody tells you about that separates the pros from the noobs. So guys, grab your copies and grab your hats. It's time to spin up some ad magic. Okay guys, what do we mean? What are the skills that make an ad manager great? Well, I'm going to go through an exact analogy, guys, and I'm going to compare, much like forging a sword and going into battle, ad manager also has top skills that they need to cultivate to forge their sword, build their sword, and go into battle, okay? So, guys, using this analogy, I want to thank my main Destiny for the methodology, and we're going to build on this and apply it to ad managers. So maybe this will give you some idea of things that you need to work on as well as an ad manager to deliver the best results for your business and your clients. First of all, to make your sword, you will need materials, okay? Then we need to forge the materials, okay, to make our sword. So the next pillar is forging. And then after you forge your sword, you have your finished sword, you need to master handling, okay? You need to master your swords to become a master swordsman, okay? So handling, okay? And these are the 3 pillars that we need to do to build our sword. Now, how does this apply when we are cultivating our ad manager skills? So the materials that you use forms the structure of your sword, okay? If you're building a sword and you're using, for example, plastic, the materials are that which you use to build your sword. Now, as an ad manager, these are your input. There are certain things that we need to input into the ad manager system before we start. Okay, these are the materials. Good inputs or bad inputs. This could be good data or bad data. For ad manager, it's very, very important that we train our ad AIs for this highly rich quality data. Okay, so this for an ad manager could be your tracking pixel, could be your Google Analytics 4 tracking conversion event, could be the market research that you're doing, the competitor research, the customer analysis research. Okay, all of these are the inputs that will inform your decision. Okay, so it's the materials and the inputs that we need, okay, as ad managers. Now, it's very, very important, much like the materials you would build your sword, okay, when you go to slay those objectives for your client, you don't want to be walking into battle with a plastic sword, guys, right? You want to make sure that you have Valerian steel swords, okay? Your inputs are super strong, okay? Because the sword is only as good as the materials it is made out of, okay? Your ads are only as good as the inputs and outputs you give it. So that's why it's incredibly important to evaluate what inputs and outputs are you feeding your ad systems, okay? These are the materials, okay? When we're forging our skills, these are foundation materials to craft our skills and run into battle to slay our client objectives. Now the next section, guys, is forge. Now that you have your materials for your sword, you want to go and craft and forge your sword. Now, what does that mean for an ad manager? Well, the forging is the forging of a strategy, okay? You have your material inputs. Now we need to forge into something tangible. And what we do there is we use the inputs to form our strategy. But before we get anywhere else and you're new here, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss any more pod updates. We are here many times a week to business owners, for advertisers, and digital marketers. Get the best on our online advertising, paid media, digital marketing strategies. But without further ado, let's get on with the video. Then what we need to do with our material, guys, is to create something tangible, okay? Use those materials to form something tangible, okay? So within the example of this, we have our inputs here. Right? Now we need to start forging. What does forging mean for an ad manager? Well, it's using those materials, those inputs and outputs to forge a strategy. So you need to form a strategy, guys. Now, what does this mean for an ad manager? Well, this is essentially shaping your campaigns, right? You're using your inputs and using the material, turn that data into offerings, angles, hooks that work well for your customer, and you might start putting together the different funnel elements of your strategy. Okay, top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. So this is where we forge our strategy. Now, once we forge our strategy, we have a pretty nice sword, but that is not the finished thing, okay? We cannot just take the inputs and outputs, create some campaigns, forge some strategies, And then leave it. There is the third pillar that we need to tap into here, okay? And that is with an example of once we have created our sword, once the campaigns are running, then it's about handling. How do we handle the sword? What do we do with our ad campaigns? And this next section is about handling. Now, handling to us comes in two parts: the execution and the communications. Really, really important. Both of these form the handling pillar of these skills. Both of those are needed in the handling aspects of our ad campaigns. What do I mean by this, guys? Well, the execution is how well you optimize your campaigns, how well you organize your creative sprints to optimize on your performance creative, how you scale, how you test, and how you meet those client expectations that which they have asked you to fulfill. So that is execution and managing of the campaigns, right? But within this pillar, we also need amazing communications, okay? It's very, very important that you have great communication skills so you can clearly communicate to the client what hooks, angles, and creative is working well, so you can feed those learnings back and the team can double down on the things that work. Communication, I would argue, is probably one of the most important skills to cultivate as an ad manager, because not only do you need to communicate with the team to create amazing campaigns, but you need to communicate with the client to let them know expectations, if there are any problems, how we handle that, what are the next steps, and what are the reporting elements and the analysis elements that we need to bring to the client to keep things fully transparent for them and for them to be fully involved in the process if that's what they want to do. That's why the final pillar is so important. How do you communicate to the client? There needs to be a backwards and forwards. There needs to be an exchange of skills and understanding and learning and feeding that back to the client and feeding it back to the team and feeding all of those learnings back into the ad systems. So we're doubling down on the things that are working. If something goes wrong, you need to be able to explain that to the client. If the client has an idea that you know isn't the right move, how are you going to communicate that to the client? What storytelling can you do to help enforce the points that you're wanting to make? What additional experience and examples can you bring in to help fortify the understanding for the client? If they have a certain strategy that they want to test and you know that it's not going to work well for them, how are you going to communicate that, guys? You're just going to say, okay, cool. Or are you going to guide and help the client through the thinking of some of these things and understanding when we do need to actually follow through on the requests of the client? All of these are fine lines to tread, guys. All of them form the three pillars that we are talking about. You need to have a handle across all of these three pillars, work on each of these three skills separately. As a culmination and a hybrid of all three, you will be a wonderful, amazing ad manager. And I wish you all the best on your journey of discovery and learning. Guys, leave me a comment down below if you got any questions. Guys, if you want to signal your interest of what the Ad Wizard team has coming up next, and you want to join the waitlist today, click the link down below to join the waitlist and find out what the Ad Wizard team has coming up next. No marketing fluff, no pressure at all, but if you're interested, click the link down below to join the waitlist today. And that's it for today, guys. Hopefully now you have a good understanding as the skills you need to cultivate as an ad manager in a constant evolving landscape. The tools and tech will change, but the skills will remain. So guys, I'd love to hear which of these skills are you working on? Are you trying to develop and curate some of these skills? And what have been some learnings around some of these skills that you have tried to implement as an ad manager? I hope you enjoyed the Ad Wizard. You can get me on LinkedIn at Jerry Griffiths, or on Instagram and X at Jerry Adwizard, and at Jerry Dreadlocks everywhere else. If you'd like to watch a video on how we curate customer persona models, which are the foundation of our business making decisions, click this video over here. We've got a step-by-step walkthrough of how we create highly resonant customer profiles. Hi, your boy Jerry the Ad Wizard, and wherever you are in the world, I bid you peace and love in order for your day. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.